New Zealand is a hidden gem in terms of size and climate. It's like the Clark Kent of countries, bigger than you think and with some serious superpowers. Let's take a closer look at the map. You see those two islands? They may have simple names, but they're actually giants in disguise. The North Island and South Island are the 14th and 12th largest islands in the world. Who would have thought New Zealand was hiding such big secrets? And speaking of size, New Zealand is even bigger than the UK. That's right, it takes the 75th place on the chart of countries by area. Bonus, the climate is still perfect for any human out there. No dry season, warm summers, and mild winters. It's like the country was designed by Goldilocks herself. With all those perks, you'd think millions of people would be flocking to New Zealand. Like the UK is cool, and there's a lot of people, about 68 million people. And in New Zealand, which is also cool, just slightly above 5 million. Wait, hold on a sec. Let me double check. Seems like I've lost a zero somewhere. Nope, I was right. There are 5.2 million people living in New Zealand. Hold up a minute. How on earth is this even possible? New Zealanders got it all. The perfect setting, the ideal weather, and they can even crash in a hobbit hole if that's their thing. And the craziest part is they can use hobbit money to actually pay. I kid you not. New Zealand is the only country in the world that can legally use hobbit coins as currency. These coins feature characters like Bilbo Baggins and Gandalf and are totally legit. Although, let's be real, their face value won't get you very far. The most expensive one is made of pure gold and costs a whopping 3,695 New Zealand dollars, which is slightly more than 2,000 in US dollars. But it only has a face value of 10 New Zealand dollars, which is just $6. So dudes who are into Tolkien with some extra cash to burn, New Zealand might be your next vacation spot. New Zealand sounds fun, huh? But wait, where are all the people at? It's like a ghost town up in here. Let's take a closer look at why this place is so sparsely populated. According to some sources, a whopping 80% of the country is empty. That's right, you could probably shout your deepest secrets into the void and no one would hear you. Now let's break it down with some fancy schmancy pie charts. As it turns out, only 23% of the population lives in the South Island, while a whopping 77% reside in the North Island. And get this, even though the North Island is smaller, it's where all the cool kids are hanging out. Speaking of cool kids, about 37% of New Zealanders live in Auckland. Yeah, you heard that right. Not even the capital city can compete with Auckland's popularity. Wellington is the capital, and it only has about 200,000 people living there. I mean, come on, even Alaska has more people than that. So, the South Island of the country is basically in the middle of nowhere. It's like a ghost town, but with mountains and more sheep than you can count. Seriously, the sheep outnumber the people by a long shot. The country's main industry is agriculture, especially sheep farming. Fun fact, for every Kiwi, there are at least 10 sheep. Huh? Seems like we've got the first answer. New Zealand is like the Alaska of the world. Nah, it's not that cold, but it's definitely isolated. New Zealand is located in the South Pacific and is far away from other countries. Did you know that New Zealand is so remote that it's considered the world's most isolated landmass? Yep, it's situated in the Southern Oceans, far away from any other major landmass. No wonder it took so long for people to settle there. But even though it's far away, New Zealand's closest neighbor is Australia, which is still over 1,000 miles away. And if you're thinking of flying there, be prepared for a long and expensive journey. Since New Zealand is a small country with only a few airports and airlines, there's not much competition when it comes to flights. This means that airlines can charge a pretty penny for those tickets. But don't worry, there's a silver lining. The lack of competition means that airlines have to adjust their flight availability and capacity to meet customer demand. So while the airfare rates may be high, at least you'll have plenty of options for when to travel. Let's go back to New Zealand's sparseness. A whopping 30% of the country is actually a national reserve. That's like having a third of your backyard declared as a protected area. No wonder New Zealand is known for its stunning green hills and forests that are filled with all sorts of plants and wildlife. From Mount Cook to Milford Sound, Tongariro and Coromandel, this country is truly a natural paradise. And you know what's even cooler? The people of New Zealand are super eco-conscious, which is probably why they've made such an effort to protect their natural wonders. It's like they're saying, hey, we want to enjoy this beautiful land for generations to come, so let's take care of it. That's a cool philosophy. Don't expect too much action here. There's not a whole lot going on. Tourism is a big deal, but most visitors are just passing through or on a working holiday. Can you blame them though? The scenery is straight up breathtaking. Alright, what about its population? Still no answer. Right, New Zealand's land area is smaller than Colorado, and there are only around 5 million people living there. And the climate's pretty chill. So what's the problem? Well, there are pitfalls. This place can get pretty wild with earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, floods, and storms. But if you're up for a challenge, living in New Zealand might be just the thing for you. Just make sure you pack your earthquake kit and raincoat. Even though it's not freezing cold like in Alaska, there's still a problem with getting warm during winter months. The houses in New Zealand are about as insulated as a cardboard box, and energy prices are through the roof. So, when winter rolls around, it's basically like living in an igloo. No wonder people don't want to stick around. Also, getting to these igloos can be a real challenge. Just take a look at Dunedin, the second largest city in the South Island of New Zealand. It's home to the steepest road in the world. According to the Guinness Book of Records, Baldwin Street has a slope of 19 degrees, making it a real thigh burner for those who dare to climb it. There's a fun annual event held in this street. During the Cadbury Jaffa race, thousands of chocolate balls are rolled down Baldwin Street for charity. As for living at the top of this street, well, let's just say you'll have steel muscles and a great view. But if you're feeling lazy, maybe invest in a ski lift. Just kidding, there's no ski lift. But wouldn't that be cool? Did you know that the town with the longest name in the world is in New Zealand? It's called... Yeah, you saw that. Please don't make me pronounce it. And no one smashed a keyboard to come up with that. Hey, and what if there are so few people in New Zealand just because it's hard to pronounce some toponyms? The town is located on the east coast of New Zealand, and its Maori translation is quite interesting. It means the place where Tamatea, the man with the big knees who slid, climbed, and swallowed mountains, known as the Land Eater, played his flute to his loved ones. Now that's a mouthful. Luckily for locals, they simply refer to it as Tamata Hill. However, if you're planning on visiting, keep in mind that it's on private land and permission is required before you can walk to it.